Hey everyone, welcome back to the Common Sense, where I talk about Jimmy Fallon and his staff that spoke about the toxic workplace and all that fun stuff. I have a lot of stuff to cover today with that. There's a lot of things that was interesting because apparently the Rolling Stone approached the staff, and then there's a lot of people want to make like the Ellen situation happen where they want to take him down because he's in the public eye. It's because he's been doing this for a long time. Who knows what's really important is to understand that all this is happening, and because there's a lot of the staff has been going through a lot, so let's put things down here.
Jimmy Fallon is apologizing to his staff tonight after accusations by former and current staffers of a toxic work environment at The Tonight Show. In a Rolling Stone piece, some of the claims involved the host screaming at his staff, drinking at work, and a high turnover rate due to mental health issues. I want to bring in the reporter who broke this story, Christy Lee Yandoli from The Rolling Stone. So, Christy, your report has detailed these examples of these outbursts, the mistreatment. Can you lay out for us what you discovered about Fallon's behavior?
Yes. So from the 2 current and 14 former employees who I spoke to on the record, they said that a lot of their mistreatment comes from the top. So the alleged behavior from Fallon trickles down to, their managers and so on and so forth.
So
they spoke to me a lot about, these, what they call Jimmy's good days, what they call Jimmy's bad days, and his mood kind of dictating the vibe of the whole day, of the whole show, snapping at crew members, not having a lot of patience with people, and the erraticness of, that's what toxicity is, the good and the bad that comes with that. And then how that over the years has impacted their mental health as well.
Yeah. What happened today in that apology that he gave to his staff after this bombshell report?
I spoke to 2 current staff members who were in a Zoom call with Jimmy and the current showrunner, Chris Miller. They told me that Jimmy apologized. He said he was sorry. He said that, Chris Miller is going to continue to be the showrunner for the rest of his time at The Tonight Show. And yeah, he apologized. He didn't really deny anything, and he apologized for, I don't know what the apology was for. He didn't get specific in it. But, the people who I did speak to who were on the call said that they felt like it was earnest and that it was coming from, a genuine place.
And is NBC responding as well?
NBC responded on the record in our story. They also did not deny things that we alleged in our story. They did acknowledge that in the past, employees had made complaints to HR and that they took proper action. So they did respond in that way, yes.
So did anybody in the, I'm sure dozens of conversations that you had with current and former staff, did anybody speak up to defend working at The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon?
So I've reached out to, in total, at least 80 current and former staffers. One employee who works for NBC, not specifically on The Tonight Show, got back to me, and they emailed me saying that they loved their time there and that they've worked with Jimmy for years in different capacities at NBC. They declined to talk on the phone, and they weren't available to chat with me. But that was the one person who had that to say. And many people did also say, they admire Jimmy's talents. They think he's a very talented comedian. They think he's very funny. Those were definitely things people had to say about him.
That's really interesting and seems to speak volumes, really, after all of this. Christy Lee Yandoli, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, Abby.
We'll get to the statement later. One thing is that the lady mentioned about the article is Jimmy. It's not just Jimmy, it's the higher staff as well. And the staff is making it seem like it's all Jimmy. So that's a little bit interesting how that was brought up is because the staff is making it like it's all Jimmy's fault here, and the point of fingers on Jimmy and everything, and it's not. They're not talking about any other management within the staff, which is something that people want to know is what's going on with the other staff members, the other management that are talking to. Basically, I assume that the staff is feeling that the management is also talking them down and making them feel more stressed out every now and then to make it seem like a toxic work environment. And this is interesting how that is, so that I'll get to my conclusions in the end. I want to go back to the statement. I'll break it down. Before I do, I'll show you a video of this lady who spoke about the statement and actually wrote something better than what the statement is.
Yesterday, Rolling Stone published an article about The Tonight Show and the work environment allegedly caused by Jimmy Fallon that included a lot of things you can read about. And apparently, Jimmy Fallon had a Zoom call last night and apologized to his staff. But one thing in those follow-up articles really caught my eye, and that was NBC's Statement. Because oftentimes when a company puts out a statement, I feel like they're trying to thread this needle between like trying to keep away from bringing on any liability and trying to make it go away. Molly McPherson is obviously the master of this. But as I read NBC's statement, one of the things that struck me is they talk about like any workplace would have employee complaints. What? Why are you bringing that up in your public statement? Like, okay, fair enough. But if I tell my kids, like, I don't care what anybody else did, I care about what you did, then why would a company think that's fine to a statement that's going to be read by people that raise complaints? So this is the red lines I would have made. Curious what you think.
I'm going to go to the video here and find a statement. We are equally proud of the Tonight Show, and providing a respectful working environment is the top priority as in any workplace we had employees with issues. Those have been investigated and action has been taken where appropriate. So, first of all, that had employees, what are you saying? They quit? So, did someone left? And providing a respectful work environment is a top priority. Oh, yeah, but what's that to say about what's happening there in the Tonight Show? And you're proud of the Tonight Show? Who? Are you talking about the show in general? Or you're not acknowledging the staff who I don't believe they're going to feel seen or anything like that. As is always as in that case, we encourage employees who feel they have experience or their behavior inconsistent with our policies to report their concerns, so we may address them. It's not for it's common knowledge, but you're acknowledging the staff, yes, but not in a way that's useful. You're not really talking about the issue here. That's my colleague. They didn't talk about Jimmy or anything like that. They didn't talk about what was going on. There was this statement. Isn't really a statement. It's not really useful. So the lady in the TikTok video, she did her own version of this, and we find that we are incredibly proud of our team members at the Tonight Show. Providing a respectful working environment is a top priority. NBC Statement, but we acknowledge we have had employees with issues. I would say I would add about who with issues. Those have been investigated. Why investigated? I think the statement should have reworded the word investigated to those who have been spoken with. That would have been more better, and probably something along the lines of taking action or something like that. Has been taking action to ensure the safety of our team down works really well. And then taking this pull out and say we think those who have spoken up, because it's not easy to do at a company point. We asked why employees have experience or sort of behavior inconsistent with our policies to report their concerns, so that we may make sure everyone's experience is truly what we promise in our values: inclusive culture, inspiration, creative conversation and mobilize action. It's not perfect, but this is so much better, and it says all team members and we acknowledge. These two right here, it seems that this will make the staff members be seen. As is always the case, we encourage that does not work out, so I'm glad that lady changed it up and then with the word spoke. Yeah, this is so much better. So this is from MSN. I'll leave the link in the description of everything I mentioned here. Jimmy Fallon has reportedly made a quote sincere apology to his staff following accusations he spearheaded quote toxic work environment. Quote, the Tonight Show host 48. He doesn't look 40. He doesn't. I'm surprised he's 48. Is believed to have put 16 of his current and former staffers into a Zoom call shortly after the incident containing the allegations. And there was, I didn't the magazine mention there was more staff members? In the report, the Rolling Stone said they had spoken to dozens of staffers who claimed Fallon's behavior would often prove, quote, erratic, quote, behind scenes with its mood dictating the atmosphere, making them, quote, walk on eggshells, quote. As a result, according to Rolling Stone, Fallon has made an effort to connect and apologize for the situation with us. So reportedly saying, quote, it's embarrassing, I feel so bad. So if I embarrass you and your family and friends, I feel so bad I came and tell you. We basically just did. And I'm not sure why he's mentioning family and friends there. There was probably that's definitely context that isn't brought up, but I assume that talking about, I don't know, and Jimmy's probably talking about them, the family and friends, because he knows them. Quote, I want to be fun. It should be inclusive to everybody. He believed to have had it should be the best show. Like, in other words, what Jimmy's saying there is, it should be the best show to be part of within the work environment. And he feels bad. I have another video from this guy who actually is, he knows Jimmy, so his name is Greg. I'm going to break things down here.
Well, this is going to take a while, so forgive me. Jimmy, if you are watching or you have a friend that's watching, I hope your friend records this and gets this segment to you, because no one is going to say this to you. Not your agent who depends on your paycheck, not your phony publicist who depends on your paycheck, and not your shrink who depends on your paycheck. But I will, because I don't care. They're trying to Ellen DeGeneres you, and they're sad cowards and shitbags because they don't like people like you. He's actually a really nice guy. I don't know if you've ever met him. I'm jealous of the guy. The guy is so freaking talented. The guy can sing, he can dance, he's funny, he's sweet. I've met him at bars. He's a gentle, sweet person. He's great at everything but hiding his own shit. And that's the problem here. If the drinking story is true, that's sad. If the drinking story isn't true, that's evil, because he's being targeted for fake and possibly real reasons to get him fired.
All right, let's break that down. And if those accusations also part of the fact that Jimmy drinks outside of work or within work, or that's the assumption is that it's happening. It's the fact that it's affecting his work. That's the main priority. Whether it's inside in his office in Tonight Show, that's anyone's guess. What's important is that this is brought up because it's happening within his workplace, because the staffers claim that his mood always depends on if he drank or not the night before or anything like that.
Again, he's being Ellen. But the most important thing is, dude, Dude. You gotta stop with the apologizing. You are apologizing all the time, and you're apologizing to the people who will never forgive you. None of those people like you. You apologize to your family, you apologize to your friends, you apologize to the people you did wrong, but you don't apologize because your damn PR person told you to. You don't apologize because your publicist thinks it's going to save your job. They want to take your job. How dare you apologize to anonymous people? Anonymous people who go to Rolling Stone, a sham of a scuzzy little magazine, 2 words, Duke Lacrosse. They have no respect. That was a phony article. Anonymous snakes coming after you, and you have to be compelled to apologize to these damn losers? That is not right.
So he's saying that they approached the Rolling Stone. So that's another thing I want to bring up is who approached who. That was actually something I was wondering on that. And then there's a lot of people. There's a lot. It's interesting. It's not. I'm not just Jimmy, but a lot of people who, a lot of celebrities or people like that who apologize in the public. They always make phony apologies or anything like that, and we don't really accept their apology most of the time. But it becomes insincere, and when it comes to people like Jimmy, for this instance, who apologize and really does, it's almost, I feel like Jimmy does feel bad that all this happened. He wants to do like he can to de-escalate it. The way this is so new to him. And the dude said that Jimmy apologizes all the time. I don't keep up with Jimmy's apologies or anything like that, or he's done what I say. Is think about this. Jimmy apologized to the staffers within the Zoom call. It's like having the people who work for him inside a room and apologizing and generally being sorry, and it's like every work environment that has like tough situations here and there, it's very common. It's truly common because it's always been like that. It's always been that way, and it was always something like that. That's very important to bring out. And the great dude says that Jimmy would apologize because it seems that people are telling him to, and which it's not NBC's big network, so the Tonight Show is a really big, massive show. So it's so important for him to say something, otherwise if he dodges the situation then he would things will look even worse or it's like that. However, it does make sense for that what the great guy said is just apologize who you need to apologize to and no one else, and not to the anonymous people in the world who are just waiting for a response that why if I watch Jimmy Fallon like constantly, like what do I need to hear him apologize for something he's done in his own workplace, even though his workplace is what I'm watching, it's the result of what I'm watching. It's not something I need as an audience member, and everyone else in the world. The people who and Jimmy's apologizing. What the guy is saying is that Jimmy's apologizing to the people who want to stab him in the back and go to the Rolling Stone magazine and call him out and try to make a mess out of nothing, because it is. It's not nothing. It's something minor. However, it's reality. It's something that happens all the time, and I feel like the staff got so stressed out. They just want to do something to take him down. They just take Jimmy's reputation down or anything like that, and it obviously backfired on them. And it's not like they didn't quit. It's the dream to work in the Tonight Show as a writer or whatever they do, and then it's that it's not easy, and because of everything going on in the world, it's not easy to like get a job or anything like that. So in a way they feel like they're in a tough situation. However, that's on them. Like they should. It's not to make it seem like their job is the end of the world. And a lot of people, even me, have like a lot of times when I worked retail for like over 5 years. I know what stress feels like in a work environment. It feels like it's the end of the world. It's not really, and at the end of the day, it's not really a big deal. Just there's always another day. There's always a way to improve and become better, and you have to find ways to adjust your way of behavior and working, and always depends if you're able to do the work always, and also it depends on what work is, and it's not all bad, and they're doing this thing because maybe the staff is doing this because it's public. Who knows? Yeah, I'll get more to that in a little bit. Let's continue. Before I continue, then he said something about that why would he apologize? Why is he apologizing? Maybe is it because your PR person told you? Well, Jimmy probably has a contract with NBC and to do things, so maybe he, in a way, has to. However, I don't know Jimmy. I don't know if he has a contract regarding anything like that. If something bad happens, he has to speak up about something. I don't know about that. However, what I would say is, it looks like he doesn't need to apologize to a bunch of random people who contribute nothing towards that, and it's important for Jimmy to apologize to the people he's done wrong, and including his family members. And for example, even though his family members aren't, let's say his family members aren't really part of this staff situation, it's still his family members and friends care about him sincerely and truly, and they are concerned for Jimmy. So maybe him apologizing to his friends about that could probably bring them to ease. So it's because it's people that Jimmy knows and Jimmy actually cares about. I said Jimmy cares about them and they care about Jimmy, so then they come together, and if Jimmy apologizes for something, or even something that feels like it's necessary, he needs to find a way to probably bring ease to that, and he can control the situation, when apologize to the staff members and find a way to make amends and make things right. And for example, if he went to the Tonight Show and apologized, like Ellen did, it would be so unnecessary. And yeah, let me know what you think about that. Let me know how you feel about what I said about that. Let's continue.
Now, let's say he has a problem, all right? When you are that talented, talent can overshadow both personal pain and the excesses of your social life. And your talent and success is so good, it's so great, that people who are around you won't tell you if you have a problem. My advice is to start listening to the family and the people who love you, and screw all those assholes that are around you, because they're not doing you any favors. No more apologies. Stop with the apologies. Just be yourself. You're a talented person. This story pisses me off to no end. It just aggravates me to see, because he's actually an interesting person. Who do you want on TV? Who the hell do you want on TV? Seth Meyers? Who do you want? I mean, at least this guy's good, and they're coming after him. And why? Why? What's the reason? It's just beyond.
He makes very excellent points there about the family and apologizing and everything that's happened there, and the fact that there's a lot of who else is there late night who is actually talented and feels like they're doing something fun. Jimmy, it seems like whenever people watch the Tonight Show, they feel like they're having fun watching him, because he has that energy and charisma for him at times, so it's something very important to understand that why they're doing this, why they're trying to expose Jimmy for. They're basically hurting themselves, like, emotionally, like, literally is what we're talking about here. Something else I want to bring up is the fact that we go through stressful times all the time outside work as well, so I don't know if they bring that in work, and that way, even for example, there are times when people that stress at work where it's like, you feel burned out, you don't know what to do, and you would just want to take out on someone or anything like that, so they're probably blaming Jimmy or the management for something that to try to find a problem that's not really there. And there were times when, even for me, for example, I was like burnt out. Like last week, I went on First Channel. I had no video ideas, so then I decided to not do a video on Tuesday and moved it to Wednesday. It worked out fine. I found a way to make things work out in my favor for them. It's like they backed themselves into a corner. Now they try to go to the Rolling Stone, and now it's a situation that didn't have to do much other than take responsibility for themselves. Which they couldn't just self-centered. They actually put themselves in a lose-lose situation because now Jimmy is upset. They're upset. It's going to be like towards, even though with Jimmy apologizing and him meaning his apology, like him being actually sorry for his apology, they escalate. However, it's still, the outcome is still on the fact that they put themselves in a lose situation because now they're upset, and now when the whole world knows about it, now people will be paying attention to Jimmy, and now Jimmy has to. Now Jimmy probably have a little bit more stressed out than usual if he does when it comes to the staff situation and the fact that the staff. And what did you want to come out of this? You want to get Jimmy fired? If you got Jimmy fired, you won't have a job, and then you won't be stressed, but then you'll be even more stressed, so you have to find another job, and probably that job will probably end up being worse. So a job with Jimmy Fallon, or a job where you may not know what will happen, to the point where maybe you may be in a position where you may be even more stressed out. So I don't know. That's literally on staff. Yeah. And now then there's a possibility that the fact that they played themselves, they could actually end up getting fired. Who knows, because of this. Because of the putting themselves in situations that they need to be in the first place.
You're fired!
Instead of sitting down with Jimmy or another Mashman and NBC, The Tonight Show, or anything that could have been done behind closed doors, where things could have, without in everyone's favor, simply just by professionally communicating. You could have done that. Instead, you as staff want to gain up on Jimmy and go to the Rolling Stones. That says a lot about you than Jimmy. Just saying. Something Matt Walsh said is very important. I want to bring it up.
Because this is it. There is no shocking revelation about horrific abuse being inflicted upon Tonight Show staffers. It's just this. The boss gets angry sometimes and yells. He criticizes employees who dissatisfy him on occasion. There's some passive aggressiveness. Sometimes people get fired. The closest thing they get to an actual shocker is that 2 employees claim that Fallon seemed potentially inebriated at work once 6 years ago. Which, if true, of course, is bad. But there is nothing here that could even remotely justify crying fits and panic attacks and employees running around threatening suicide. Okay, this is not a toxic work environment. It's a fragile work environment staffed by a collection of emotionally stunted crybabies who break down in tears if they experience a little bit of pressure or if the boss gets a little bit mad sometimes. Look, I'm no Jimmy Fallon fan. I have no dog in this fight. I have no instinct to defend him or any real interest in defending him. But my general ambivalence towards Jimmy Fallon is overridden in this case by the intense revulsion I feel towards this generation of overgrown children masquerading as adults who can't handle even the smallest amount of stress. Yeah. And that's where this idea of the toxic work environment comes from. Now, there might be some workplaces that really are toxic in a more significant sense, but for the most part, when someone complains about their workplace being toxic, what they really mean is that their workplace is a workplace, that they have to deal with other people, they have responsibilities they have to perform. They have to justify their existence and their job. There's pressure, there's stress. Tempers flare sometimes. People disagree.
Happens.
Coworkers and bosses have eccentricities that can be annoying and frustrating. It's a workplace. It's life as an adult. This is how it goes.
And there's also times when when you're working, you have multiple bosses, so you think you may have that pressure of I want to do the right thing for this boss and that boss, or maybe you did about it some other way. Well, not that person, but I prefer to do things for this person, as I said. And then it becomes stressful, and then it comes, and things escalate, and things become toxic, and the toxic could be actually you. And you may not know that, you may not think that, you may not realize that, or you may not want to think about the possibility of that being you. However, that's something that's life. I believe that there's always times when we have traits of being we want to do so much, where we have a lot of pressure in the workforce, in the workplace, in the work field, where and every day and throughout the day, it's very important to understand that it happens. It's not something new.
Now, just to drive the point home here, recently Forbes published a list of the 10 signs that you're in a toxic workplace. And here are some of the signs. It says that your workplace is toxic, says Forbes, if you are physically and mentally exhausted at the end of each workday, if your manager asks you to be available to answer emails in the evenings, if your colleagues complain about work, or if your coworkers sometimes make offensive jokes. That is a toxic work environment. So again, a toxic workplace is just a workplace. It's any workplace. Now, that's not to say that people should make offensive jokes, or even that your boss should expect you to be available off hours, but these things happen, and when they happen, it just means that your workplace isn't perfect. It isn't flawless. Indeed, as Jimmy Fallon's staff discovered, it isn't a dream. There's no dream job, because life is not happening in a dream. It's reality. Stuff happens sometimes that you don't like. That doesn't make it toxic, you emotional infants. And it certainly doesn't justify crying fits or acting like you have PTSD. You didn't get your legs blown off on the battlefield. You answered a work email at 7 p.m. You'll be fine. Stop whining.
They feel like today.
See, this is the real story with the epidemic of toxic work environments. Once again, the problem isn't the problem itself, but the total inability of grown adults to deal with the problem.
Boom, right there. There's a comment that I want to look up on. It says here, David Part 2. 1% guarantee that 9% of the people complaining about toxic environment or making the work environment toxic. So it's on them. It's something that is massively important to realize, is that it could be you that's causing all this. And that's what it seems like for the people who went to the Rolling Stone and spoke about Jimmy. They want to find something out of nothing, and it's not. And what did Jimmy do for doing all this? Why is this happening? Well, he's a boss who talks to his employees, and maybe he feels like the staff members feel like they're miscommunicating with the way he speaks or his tone, and if he is acting up, it's not about you. It's probably deal with. Have you ever thought maybe that Jimmy is also, as a boss, he'd be stressed out as well, and not just for the work. He has other things too. He's a famous dude who interacts with so many people. He is probably concerned about certain things, and he would bring into his workplace. However, at the same time, he understands that when he's in the workplace, he has to be professional. When he's professional, he has to understand that there's a lot of things that are important to see within all this is happening. When he's seen all this happen with his workplace, and by that I mean he's seen people going to the quiet rooms or feeling so stressed out, he feels bad because he's in the public eye. I want to point out that this could have been handled behind closed doors if it was any other job, and that it's the they're in a environment where Jimmy will end up doing a show in the public eye with cameras. Even though it's like the cameras on him and not the staff, it's still they associate with Jimmy because they are part of it. So then what would be the difference if it was any other job behind closed doors? What would they do? I feel like they wanted to find a way to make noise just for the heck of it. That way, one of the days is that maybe they are being this way towards Jimmy, particularly because they feel similarities between the stuff that happened with them and the stuff that happened with Alan's staff or any other stressful workplace that they know of or experience or so. Or maybe the fact is that they are basing Jimmy right now on his past actions with his history, and now they want to find a way to think about his reputation and probably want to find a way to use his past against him, or not just the drinking or anything like that, but just the way his tone, the way he talks, and the way he communicates with his team. That's something that could be thought of. Yeah. Imagine a situation where the staff members talk to Jimmy and it's close the doors where there's no Tonight Show. It's different. It's kind of like the same job, but it's more. There's no cameras or anything like that. There's no. How would that work? Be an ending? Would they quit? Would they work? Would they continue working for him because they want to find some way to hopefully have some hope that Jimmy will one day will not be quote toxic in their minds ever again? It doesn't work like that. Turns out Jimmy, who's the boss to the staffers, actually went to do work, and when they go to work, they want to find some way to hate the work, and when they hate the work, and that's not good for them. Yeah. That's all for today. Let me know what you think about anything I said here, anything I mentioned. Let me know what's up. Alright, I'll see you soon. Bye.
You guys are fired! That's it!
Hope you enjoyed this episode. This episode is available on Spotify for podcasters in audio form if you want to listen to this, and if you want to follow me on Instagram and Twitter so you'll be notified when I upload the videos, and can do so in the description. All the information is there. And check out the videos I did before this one. I'll see you soon. Bye.